Welcome to the Inventors Assistance League International Incorporated. We are the very first nonprofit organization in the whole United States strictly for helping creative people and inventors do mainly three things. Number one, how to protect all your ideas. Number two, how to get all your ideas into the middle of the marketplace to determine which of your ideas has commercial value, because all ideas don't have commercial value. Then we teach you how to get to the right manufacturers and the right executives in those companies that will manufacture and market your idea worldwide.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to this edition of Making Money with Your Ideas. I'm Barry Pinto, your host. Glad to have you here with us today. This is the first of a series of programs dedicated to you, the creative individual who wants to profit from your ideas. Now, my guest today is perhaps one of the most prestigious inventors of modern times, Mr. Ted DeBoer. If you have ever had an idea for a new product or something innovative, then you will want to hear what he has to say, because Mr. DeBoer, whether you are aware of it or not, has had a very important influence on your life. In fact, he is responsible for the experience you are having at this very moment. That's because Mr. DeBoer was one of the scientists on the team that created, listen to this, the modern television set. Mr. DeBoer, it is a pleasure to have you here today. May I call you Ted?
My pleasure, you may.
Ted, I have to jump to the bottom line and ask the basic question. How can you actually help our viewers become successful and make money with their ideas?
I developed a home study program that takes you by the hand, step by step, from pre-patent protection to get it into the marketplace without revealing secrets, to get interviews, and you make money with your idea, or you learn why it doesn't have commercial value. Well, you learn why it can't make money, and then you know what you got to go home to improve to make it saleable.
And the best part is you can use it again. This program doesn't go away with one invention. You can keep using it over and over again.
Every idea for the rest of your life to make a living with your brains rather than your brawn. You see, Barry, every original idea you have can be protected under all 17 laws and methods available to us. And I teach you how to communicate that idea without revealing the secret, so you can talk to people and determine, does the device have commercial value, yes or no?
Which is important.
Well, you got to find out.
Everything. Will
it serve mankind? Can it be made and sold at a profit?
Okay, well, while we're at this point, I don't know that there are many people out there that would say, I'm an inventor. But I know there are a lot of people out there who would say, but I have a great idea. I do this, I do this. So what then is the difference between an inventor and someone who has a good idea?
Okay. Any original innovation, all creativity, all inventions of every kind, all ideas, a method of doing business, an idea for a new restaurant, new knitting ideas, advertising campaigns, architectural designs, because you need to know there's 17 laws and methods available to us to protect them.
Okay.
And then you operate under controlled conditions, not telling everybody your secret. You operate under controlled conditions to talk to the right executives and the right people to determine, do you have a winner, yes or no?
Okay.
And then you want to know what your options are available to you according to this original idea.
So what kind of people? Are we talking about someone who has to be a scientist or someone who has to have a scientific kind of mind, or are we talking about anybody?
Okay, right here in the studio we have a 12-year-old boy.
Yeah.
And if you begin at 12 years old, Goodyear and Firestone and Westinghouse and Ford, they had some of their original ideas at 12 years of age.
Is that
and
right?
Boys and girls, original thinking. And let me tell you, Barry, the crazy kooky ones that hit the hot button of the general public, they sell first.
They're the ones that go.
They go first.
You know what I'd like to do right now before we get going is talk about specifics. We have behind us here a lot of ideas that people came up with that we take for granted that we're everyday people. Let's talk about some of these ideas back here that we have. Let me show you some of what we found. We have a fascinating array of products here, and I'm sure you're familiar with all of them. Let me tell some of our viewers. Jump in right here. Auto shades. They seem so simple, just a folded piece of cardboard, but because it solves a problem, something that you said, Ted, that everybody has, and because Avi Rumi had the sense to market it, He's now a millionaire.
And other inventors follow my program and they can make money just like he did.
Just like he did. Solving problems of everyday life is the way that hundreds of people like you and me have become multi-millionaires. This is a great problem because it comes from a sweet little old lady somewhere. We're talking about canned goods. Now, sometimes a good idea from the most ordinary person can literally change the world. Did you know that the idea of vacuum canning did not come from a scientist, but, as I said, sweet little Amanda Jones? Listen to this story. She was a home canner and canned the fruits and vegetables from her own garden. And she noticed that when she sealed the cans when they were hot, they lasted on her shelf many, many times longer because of the vacuum seal it made. She literally changed the world with her idea. What a great contribution to mankind.
The automatic transmission, color pictures in a minute, color photography, all come from independent inventors.
Everyday people. Okay. I love this story. This is a pencil grip. Construction worker Chris Rusk was trying to help his 5-year-old son learn to print, but he had trouble holding the pencil. Listen to this. His wife happened to be baking cookies at the time in the kitchen, so he grabbed the ball of cookie dough and pressed it around the pencil, and suddenly his son was printing much better. Chris quit his job as a construction worker and has made millions with his little pencil grip, which sells for pennies. We're talking about everyday people.
Our viewers can do the same thing. If you have an idea, my program can do the same thing for you.
Same thing for you. Okay, you don't have to be a housewife or a secretary. Listen to the age of this guy. A socket wrench, you don't even have to come up with something completely new. Even an improvement, we talked about that, on an existing thing can make you rich. The quick-release socket wrench was an improvement that a 19-year-old boy named Peter Roberts came up with. Imagine being a multi-millionaire at 19 years old.
I have many ideas and tools. They go good.
Tools go good? So can really anybody be an inventor then?
Yes. Anybody that's creative, that has a mind, can be an inventor.
You know, I don't know a lot about inventing, but I do know, here, have a seat, Ted, that one of the things that I've read, anyway, is that in order to get your invention out there correctly, the first thing you have to do is file for a patent. But from what I've read also of your Invent Assist program, you're saying that might be the worst thing you can do.
Barry, there's a right time to apply for a patent. There's a right person to write the patent application. There's the right people to pay the high cost. There's the right kind of patent application. But in this country, the law says it's the first to invent, not the first to file a patent.
Oh, I see. Okay.
You can listen to 1,000 patent attorneys speak, and you don't learn it in the school. You don't learn it how to take the first to invent feature to make it go to work for you. And that's what our program is all about.
Well, you know, when you say patent attorney, you hear attorney, the first thing that comes to mind is lots of money. So you're saying don't go for a patent, but I know probably a lot of well-intending people spend lots of money on patents. What are they spending? They must be really throwing their money out the window. I heard a figure, what, something like $10,000 people could spend?
It's $10,000, $12,000, $15,000.
And now, Ted, you mentioned commercial value. What actually is commercial value?
It means simply that you have an idea that can make money. You go to an attorney to file for a patent.
Okay.
When you've determined it's got commercial value, and earnings pay the cost of patents. Now, I helped inventors for 16 years, Barry. Then I went to patent law school. I practice patent law. But I teach my members how to establish pre-patent protection using all the 17 laws and methods available to us, and then how to determine, is it a winner, yes or no? Because, Barry, 9 out of 10 inventions cannot be made and sold at a profit. And so you have to find out which ones are winners. You know, a baseball player, he goes up to bat every time and he tries real hard, but he doesn't hit a home run every time.
Exactly.
And he hit a home run. If he hits a home run 1 out of every 3rd time up to bat, he could almost decide the team he wants to be aboard.
And I think it's important to say while you're saying that you've worked with people and you're helping people, that's what we're here talking about today is your Invent Assist program. You actually, through this program, tell people how to do what you're talking
That's
about.
Right.
It's not just a bunch of words. It's basically your life put into a program.
You see, I got a calling to help all creative people to get all their original ideas and get them into the marketplace to provide their livelihood with their brains rather than their brawn. And it took me 26 years of trial and error before I had a program that I was happy with that solved all the problems. Because an inventor's got to be creative, and then he's got to know the legal aspect of it, and then he's got to know market, and then he's got to know how to negotiate royalties. So it's a big order, but it's easy when you know how.
And you have actually run a not-for-profit organization, the very first one.
I founded
for this,
the very first federally nonprofit tax-exempt organization of, by, and for inventors that ever was in this country. And when we started over 34 years ago, there was no workable program, and there was no place for a creative person, for an inventor to go to get honest help. Because, you know, if you
honest help is the key, because too many people are getting ripped off.
If you got a back problem, you go to a surgeon, he's talking about operating on you. If you got a back problem, you go to an internal medicine, he's going to give you pills.
Right.
And if you go to a chiropractor, he's going to manipulate you. Okay, now, when you have an idea, if you go see a patent attorney first, then he's going to sell you a search, which you need like a hole in the head, and he's going to sell you a patent, which at this stage of the game, you need like a hole in the head. You first got to determine, is it a winner, is it profitable?
We've already established that patents can be very expensive, but are there other drawbacks to patents?
Yes, they take 1 to 2 years. But with my method, within a matter of weeks, you find out if you got a moneymaker, yes or no.
So going after the patent, you may be sitting around for a year or two, nothing happening. Your program, you're out there in a couple of weeks.
In a matter of 12 to 14 weeks.
Wow. Decades and decades of research with thousands of people. You have taken your life and you've put it in this very simple, easy to use, effective, non-rip-off, non-scam artist for the real thing program. Let me just ask you, how do people get your program? How can they find out more about Invent Assist?
They have to call the telephone number.
Okay.
And they have to take our program. And the first time they got 1 ounce of problem, boy, get me on the telephone, because they haven't got a problem I haven't answered 500 times.
All right.
There's no place for an inventor to go to get honest help, and that's why I founded the very first nonprofit organization.
And a great organization it is, I must say. Go ahead.
And then in 26 years, it took trial and error, thousands of inventors, thousands of inventions, until I had a workable program and get it down real simple, and that's what we put in our program here. And now it's available every creative person around the world.
They can get it themselves. Let's talk more about some stories. Let's talk about some people who have really made a difference. Give us some examples.
I like Penny, the loveliest lady you could ever meet.
Okay.
And she went to comb her eyelashes, and the comb she had that she bought in the store didn't work very well. But she was an animal lover, and she had an animal fur comb, and she modified that to make her eyelashes beautiful. And many, many years now, she's been averaging about $4,000 a month in earnings.
Wow!
And then just
for an eyelash comb.
And just in the past 2 weeks, I helped her make an improvement on the eyelash curler. We're all excited about it.
I love it. So you're still working with her on this this $4,000 a month wonderful Penny with her eyelash comb and eyelash curler. Wow!
Then there's Rick, who invented the catapult shoe that was licensed to the LA Gear shoe people. And the catapult shoe for walking is terrific, and Rick is a prolific inventor, comes by with a Mercedes automobile this big and does good, and he's only maybe 26, 27 years old.
Incredible.
And you just can't imagine how terrific it is. And all you have to do is come up with something that can be made and sold at a profit.
Great way to find out if maybe one of these ideas is a $1 million idea like we've been talking about. You know, you've mentioned General Motors or Mattel Toys, the man with LA Gear. Those companies sound so big and so intimidating. How hard is it really to sell your ideas to these guys?
It's easy when you've taken the program that it took me 26 years how to develop.
I see.
Because when I started, there was 124 outfits who claimed to help inventors. Now, one had a protection program because the large corporation that I worked with in research and development, we kept laboratory notebooks. Not one of them taught you how to do that. Not one of them had a marketing program. The inventor always tells me, I want to make and market this because I want to make the most money. That's not true. That's not true, because if you have a carburetor that makes the car go 500 miles to the gallon and General Motors likes it, they got plants in 38 countries of the world, they got dealers in all towns and cities, it would take you 20 years to get that far.
Sure.
So you license it to the company, and you just go home and cash the royalty check every month.
Okay, royalty check. This is a whole, we talked about the one with the eyelash comb, $4,000 a month.
Yeah.
let's explain this whole concept of royalty. What is a royalty payment?
Very simply, when you sell your invention to a company, they manufacture it and they put it on the market and they pay you a percentage of the sales, and that's what's called a royalty. And you get that check once a month, and it can be the size of a wheelbarrow. It can be like an 18-wheeler to take the money to the bank, because today the world is our market.
So I invent this, they sell it in the marketplace, and I get part of the money that people pay for this coming to me every month.
Everyone they put out the door, everyone they sell, you get a percentage.
You own part of it. How much, what percentages are we talking? How much money are we talking? Just give me an idea.
Let me tell you. You can't fathom. You can't, wheelbarrows aren't big enough to take the money to the bank.
Okay.
You have to have an 18-wheeler. But you have to know the facts of life. 9 out of 10 don't have commercial value. You got to persevere to make it happen, just like a professional baseball player. The easiest way I know how to describe it. If you are a good baseball player in high school, you get right into college on a scholarship, and right out of college you get right to the professional league, and you have a smooth, slippery, straight league to get there. We do the same thing for the inventor. Every original idea, we get him right to where he needs to be real quick.
Okay. Well, you know, Ted, I have to say, some of the monies and the royalty percentages we're talking about are so incredible that I decided we had to check them out ourselves. So I sent our producers out to do some research, and we discussed some of the things that everyday people have come up with, some very interesting ideas that are now a part of our everyday life. Let's take a look at a few of them, okay? This was some fascinating research, and we should say right off, everything we're seeing here were invented by everyday people. For example, I love this one. The disposable diaper was invented by a mother. She's now a multimillionaire.
73% of the revolutionary inventions that start all new industries come from independent inventors, and that's the kind of people my program helps.
And they're millionaires today.
That's right.
Even some
multimillionaires.
Multimillionaires. Even some famous people. Tell us a story about this.
This one here, this is the picture album by Mark Twain.
With the self-stick pages.
That's right. He made more money with his invention than he did writing books.
Than he ever made making books.
That's right.
I love that. This has revolutionized our world. Velcro here, Velcro here. You can't go anywhere without finding Velcro.
Fantastic invention, invented by an Austrian, going through the woods. The burr stuck to his pants. He wanted to know why, and he made this product around it.
Auto shades, liquid paper, canned goods, Snugglies, tools, all by everyday people, and they've changed the way we've lived our lives.
Yes, Barry. Anybody who can think, everybody who thinks past their nose can be creative and can come up with ideas that can be made and sold at a profit. And in all the history, never such opportunity as now.
Interesting
And it all comes from the head, and that's what made this country great. And I'm on a crusade to help every creative person get my program and get it into the middle of the marketplace. And if they've got any problems, call me on the telephone, because they haven't got a problem I haven't solved 500 times.
And you really are. I like that about you, Ted. I like your crusade. Really, you're out for the average guy. I like that.
I help people.
I need to ask you about a question that I know I need to calm you down about, because I know this gets to you. But there are a lot of scam artists out there. Not only are there a lot of scam artists, but there are even companies that you'll take your invention to and they'll actually rip you off. And this is, boy, folks, if you have any idea out there, let me just say to you from what I've read and understood, you need to be careful, because you can be taken advantage of.
Barry, not a day goes by and we get phone calls that inventors lost their inventions and lost $10,000, $20,000, $30,000.
That is so sad when you see the kind of average people that are doing this. These aren't multimillionaires. These are construction workers and secretaries, and then to have someone rip them off it's really sad.
The loveliest lady, nurse, why, they told her she had the best invention ever. If they would give her, or if she would give them $12,000, she'd be a multimillionaire. She sold her house, gave them $12,000, and got nothing for it. In this state, we have a law. We have a law that says that the inventor, these scam operators have to tell the inventors how many used their services and how many got more money back than they paid them because of their services. Some of them 7, 8, 10,000 inventors paid them up to $15,000, and not a single one ever gets any more money back.
It's terrible.
It's a horrible thing.
How do they do it, Ted? How do they operate? How do they scam a nurse out of $12,000 or a little old lady out of her life savings? It's so, you hear these stories every day and you think, it's such a tragedy.
They do it because they tell the inventor, oh, your invention is wonderful, you're going to become a millionaire. They stroke them a little bit, yeah. And they say, now, all you do is give us the money, and you just stay home and twiddle your thumbs, and we're going to do all of that. And it doesn't work that way.
So they're out there. You've got to be careful.
Barry, if anybody wants to know the secret of your invention, punch him in the nose and kick him in the shins and get out of there fast.
Which is part of what you tell them.
That's right.
A hard question for you. How do we know you're not one of these scam artists?
Okay. Now,
we've never even talked about this. That came out of left field. But if we're going to talk about the scam artists and how people have to be careful, then I did say, well, is the Invent Assist program the same type of thing? What makes it different?
The answer is we teach you how. You own, manage, and coach your invention. You're in total control. We don't let you tell any secret to any executive in the company, only under controlled conditions. And the way we do it is the way all the large successful companies do it. We modify it to fit the individual inventor, and you go one step at a time, and you're totally confident what you're doing, and you go from where you're at to where you want to be in a straight line right now. The unscrupulous operators in this business and the scams, just take one of them, 6,915 people paid them from $8,000 to $15,000. Another one, 10,185 paid them, and not a single inventor.
Not one.
Not one. It's zero ever got any more money back.
Man, folks, if you have an invention out there, let me tell you, you need to check out this program here, because if you may go in another direction and you may find yourself giving out money, being ripped off, and it's not what you want to do. And for that reason, Ted has founded the Inventor Assistance League. Even though I say inventors, we're talking about just anyone who has something in their life. They've discovered a way to make it easier or better, whether they look in the mirror and say, I am an inventor or not. These are the inventors that have revolutionized the way we live our lives.
Any original raw idea that would serve mankind, any creation, any method of doing business, solving any problem that mankind has, any idea that you feel that people would buy, it's all protectable. Every original idea that you ever have can be protected. There's 17 laws and methods available to you. You can't think of something can be protected. You operate under controlled conditions, you don't reveal any secrets, and you find out is it a winner, yes or no.
How many people have you helped like that?
Okay. I've interviewed more than 28,000 inventors.
Wow.
And out of that, my guess that I interviewed maybe 12 to 14,000 have ideas that got to the marketplace.
Really? Now, they actually got to the marketplace.
They
12 to 14,000.
Yeah. But now, how many really make it beyond that? 9 out of 10 don't have commercial value.
What actually is commercial value?
It means simply that you have an idea that can make money. You want to know that, and you learn that very quickly. But you see, you don't know which ones they are. If you take my program, which is very simple, I guarantee. Now, what do I guarantee? I guarantee you'll protect every one of your ideas. You'll get every one of them you'll establish priorities defined by patent law. You'll get everyone in the middle of the marketplace, and you'll make money for it with it, or you'll learn why it doesn't have commercial value.
All guaranteed.
All guaranteed. Been doing it many, many years, and works like magic, and it's fantastic. I don't have a single unhappy member. You bring me any inventor, and I can accomplish those things for him.
And Ted, as I understand it, when someone buys your program, they're actually a member.
They become a member, and they have free consultation for 1 full year. But my program is so well done and been tried and proven so many thousand times over the past 34 years, they'll have very few problems. It would be one that's special to their particular invention.
Sure.
And they haven't got a problem I haven't solved 500 times.
But you're saying if they need you, you're there.
We're 1 full year free consultation.
Wow.
And let me tell you, retired people, they think back and say, well, I had all these ideas, but we never had money for patents. But now you can, by yourself, just learn my program under an hour's cost of a patent attorney, how to establish priority and how to get it into the marketplace, in 12 to 14 weeks.
Yeah.
None of this waiting 2-3 years and then get a patent, and after you get a patent, then you say what? Because it's 90% marketing. Your idea is 8%, and 2% protection.
You need the whole package.
And at the marketing, that's where the fun's at. I remember one man from Watts had a new idea for ladies' hair. and he interviewed a lady from Procter & Gamble in our office.
Mm-hmm.
From the time the lady from Procter & Gamble got there and the time she went out, it was 14 minutes. That's how long it takes when you do your interview properly. Oh. He said to me, she wants to know more information, and she came back a week later and she got it. Now, you see, I've done my job. I got it protected, got it right in the middle of the marketplace, and that's what we do for all creative people. That's really what I put together, Barry. A new method of making a living. Like a doctor, dentist, lawyer. This you do in your own home. You sit by a computer or by a typewriter, a pad of paper, and then you watch on television, and when you go places, you monitor the moods of the general public, and you look at problems and say, how can this be solved? Or you look at something and say, what strikes their fancy today? And from clothing, just anything,
all the kind of things you talk about here. The guy who did 108 inventions, your father did 9 inventions himself. I mean, they can just keep coming if you allow them to keep coming.
You know, they teach all the little boys and girls to be athletes. There aren't even 3,000 professional athletes. I want to teach them all how to use their brains and be creative. And it's much more fun, and it's a lot easier to do it with your brains than your brawn.
The Invent Assist program, I can't think of a better way to end it. Well, let's hope that we've inspired some of you, our viewers, to get moving with your ideas. Now that you know that there is a proven way to turn your ideas into money. Ted, thank you so much for being here. It has been a pleasure.
My pleasure, Barry.
Mr. Ted DeBoer, a world-famous inventor and founder of the nonprofit organization, the Inventors Assistance League, and now a remarkable educator and mentor for thousands of people just like you. Now, perhaps you have a good idea, a useful invention, but you just don't know how to begin. Well, now you can have step-by-step guidance from this renowned expert, Mr. DeBoer.
So that's our program. Any questions about our program, ask at the front desk or call us. Thank you for your attention.
DeBoer, whether you are aware of it or not, has had a very important influence on your life. In fact, he is responsible for the experience you are having at this very moment. That's because Mr. DeBoer was one of the scientists on the team that created, listen to this, the modern television set. Mr. DeBoer, it is a pleasure to have you here today. May I call you Ted?
My pleasure, you may.
Ted, I have to jump to the bottom line and ask the basic question. How can you actually help our viewers become successful and make money with their ideas?
I developed a home study program that takes you by the hand, step by step, from pre-patent protection to get it into the marketplace without revealing secrets, to get interviews, and you make money with your idea, or you learn why it doesn't have commercial value. Well, you learn why it can't make money, and then you know what you got to go home to improve to make it saleable.
And the best part is you can use it again. This program doesn't go with one invention. You can keep using
all ideas, a method of doing business, an idea for a new restaurant, new knitting ideas, advertising campaigns, architectural designs, because you need to know there's 17 laws and methods available to us to protect them.
Okay.
And then you operate under controlled conditions, not telling everybody your secret. You operate under controlled conditions to talk to the right executives and the right people to determine, do you have a winner, yes or no?
Okay.
And then you want to know what your options are available to you according to this original idea.
So what kind of people? Are we talking about someone who has to be a scientist or someone who has to have a scientific kind of mind, or are we talking about anybody?
Okay, right here in the studio we have a 12-year-old boy.
Yeah.
And you begin at 12 years old. Goodyear and Firestone and Westinghouse and Ford, they had some of their original ideas at 12 years of age.
Welcome to the Inventors Assistance League International Incorporated. We are the very first nonprofit organization in the whole United States strictly for helping creative people and inventors do mainly three things. Number one, how to protect all your ideas. Number two, how to get all your ideas into the middle of the marketplace to determine which of your ideas has commercial value, because all ideas...
It over and over again.
Every idea for the rest of your life to make a living with your brains rather than your brawn. You see, Barry, every original idea you have can be protected under all 17 laws and methods available to us. And I teach you how to communicate that idea without revealing the secret, so you can talk to people and determine, does the device have commercial value, yes or no?
Which is important.
Well, you got to find out.
Everything.
Will it serve mankind? Can it be made and sold at a profit?
Okay, well, while we're at this point, I don't know that there are many people out there that would say, I'm an inventor. But I know there are a lot of people out there who would say, but I have a great idea. I do this, I do this. So what then is the difference between an inventor and someone who has a good idea?
Okay. Any original innovation, all creativity, all inventions of every kind
don't have commercial value. Then we teach you how to get to the right manufacturers and the right executives in those companies that will manufacture and market your idea worldwide.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to this edition of Making Money with Your Ideas. I'm Barry Pinto, your host. Glad to have you here with us today. This is the first of a series of programs dedicated to you, the creative individual who wants to profit from your ideas. Now, my guest today is perhaps one of the most prestigious inventors of modern times, Mr. Ted DeBoer. If you have ever had an idea for a new product or something innovative, then you will want to hear what he has to say, because Mr.